Hello, and welcome back to the final week of our exploration into the art and science of self love. I'm Kari, the owner of Sacred Whispers Studio. Today, we're bringing everything together by exploring how self love serves as a gateway to greater connection with others, with your intuitive abilities, and with the universe itself. Over the past 3 weeks, we've defined what true self love really means, explored the fascinating neuroscience behind it, and discovered practical rituals for embodying self love in daily life. Today, we'll see how this foundation of self love enhances everything else in your life, particularly your spiritual and intuitive development. There's a common misconception that focusing on self love is somehow self centered or self absorbed. Nothing could be farther from the truth. As we'll discover today, genuine self love is actually the doorway to deeper, more authentic connections in all areas of life. For those of us who work with energy and intuition, self love isn't just a nice addition to our practice, it's an essential foundation. Let me explain why. Your energy field is the instrument through which you receive intuitive information. So, just as a musician has to keep their instrument tuned and cared for, you have to tend to your energetic field if you want to receive clear intuitive guidance. Self criticism creates what I call energetic static or noise in your field that interferes with clear reception. This happens in several ways. First, self judgment activates your stress response, which we learned in week 2 constricts your energy and narrows your perception. This neurological narrowing directly impacts your ability to receive subtle information. Second, when you're identified with a critical inner voice, your attention is split. Part of you is focused on the present moment where intuition flows, and part is caught in self judgment. And this divided attention dilutes your receptive capacity. Third, self criticism creates energetic density in your field. Intuitive information tends to come through at higher frequencies, which have difficulty penetrating these denser energies. Actually, anything negative blocks your spiritual vibration and intuition. So, in contrast, when you're in a state of self love and self acceptance, several things happen that enhance your intuitive abilities. Your energy field becomes more expansive and fluid, creating greater surface area for receiving information. Your attention becomes unified rather than split, allowing for greater presence with whatever you're sensing. Your vibrational frequency naturally rises, aligning more closely with the frequencies at which much intuitive information is transmitted. You become more willing to trust what you receive without second guessing yourself. I've observed this phenomenon countless times. The more someone cultivates genuine self love, the clearer and more accurate their intuitive abilities become. This isn't just theory, it's practical, energetic science. Next time you're preparing to do intuitive work, try spending a few minutes in self love practice first. Notice how it clears your field and enhances your receptivity. This simple addition can dramatically improve the clarity of your readings or healing work. Beyond enhancing our intuitive abilities, self love transforms our relationships with others in profound ways. When we truly love and accept ourselves, we create the conditions for more authentic, fulfilling connections with others. Here's how self love impacts your relationships. You stop seeking external validation. When you're lacking in self love, you unconsciously look to others to fill that gap. This creates dependency and often leads to disappointment when others can't or won't provide the validation you're seeking. When you cultivate genuine self love, you approach relationships from a place of fullness rather than lack. You're connecting to share rather than to get something you're missing. You set healthier boundaries. As we discussed last week, boundaries are a natural expression of self love. When you value yourself, you naturally protect your energy, time, and well being. This clarity about what's acceptable actually creates safer, more trustworthy relationships because others know where they stand with you. You become more authentic. When you love yourself, you're less afraid of rejection. This frees you up to show up as you truly are rather than adapting yourself to please others. This authenticity magnetizes relationships based on genuine connection rather than performance or people pleasing. You develop greater empathy. Contrary to what some might think, self love doesn't make you self centered. It actually increases your capacity for empathy. When you've learned to sit compassionately with your own pain and struggles, you develop greater tolerance for others' difficulties. You can be present with their struggles without the need to fix, avoid, or judge them. You choose relationships more consciously. Self love gives you the clarity and courage to choose relationships that truly align with your highest good, rather than tolerating connections that deplete or diminish you. You naturally gravitate towards those that reflect the love you have for yourself. From an energetic perspective, self love creates what I call clean connections with others. When you love yourself, your energy field has integrity, meaning you're not unconsciously leaking or grabbing energy in your interactions. This integrity allows for relationships characterized by mutual respect and freedom rather than codependency or energetic entanglement. You will recognize love and want to give your soulmate what they crave because you are so in love with them and they are so in love with you. It's really that simple. Mutual respect and love, but it starts with you. For those in helping or healing professions, this aspect of self love is particularly important. Without sufficient self love, it's easy to confuse taking care of others with sacrificing yourself. True service comes from overflow, not depletion. Loving yourself ensures you have something genuine to offer others. Beyond personal relationships, self love is connected to spiritual development. Many spiritual traditions emphasize transcending the self, which can sometimes be misinterpreted as rejecting or denying aspects of your humanity. But authentic spiritual growth doesn't come from self rejection. It comes from complete self acceptance that ultimately reveals your connection to something larger. I think of it this way: self love isn't about inflating the ego, but about embracing your humanity so completely that you move beyond identification with the separate self. When you truly accept all aspects of yourself, including your limitations and shadows, you paradoxically become less identified with your personal story and more connected to universal consciousness. This connection between self love and spiritual development shows up in several ways. A greater surrender. When you love yourself, you're less afraid of what might emerge in your spiritual practice. This allows for deeper surrender because you're not constantly monitoring and controlling your experience to avoid uncomfortable parts of yourself. You're more embodied spiritually. Self love encourages an embodied approach to spirituality that honors rather than transcends your physical existence. This integration of spirit and matter creates a more holistic spiritual path that can be lived in everyday reality, not just on the meditation cushion. You will have great authentic devotion. In many traditions, devotion to the divine is a central practice. When this devotion arises from self love rather than self rejection, it becomes a genuine expression of appreciation rather than an attempt to escape your humanity. Lastly, the integration of shadow. Self love creates the safety needed to face and integrate the shadow aspects of yourself, those parts you've denied or rejected. This shadow integration is essential for spiritual maturity and prevents the spiritual bypassing that occurs when we use spiritual practice to avoid uncomfortable truths about ourselves. From an energetic perspective, self love opens your vertical channel, that energetic connection between earth and sky, matter and spirit, human and divine. This open channel allows spiritual energy to flow more freely through your system, accelerating your evolution and enhancing your capacity to serve as a channel for higher wisdom. Remember that true spirituality is not about becoming something other than what you are. It's about recognizing and embodying the fullness of what you already are. Self love is the fertile ground from which this recognition can blossom. Now, let's explore specific ways to integrate self love into your existing spiritual practice, particularly if you work with intuitive or healing abilities. Begin and end with self compassion. Whatever your spiritual practice, whether meditation, energy work, divination, or something else, try bookending it with brief self compassion practices. Before beginning, take a moment to acknowledge yourself for showing up, setting an intention of kindness towards whatever arises. After completing your practice, offer yourself appreciation rather than evaluation. Practice non judgmental awareness. During meditation or intuitive work, notice when the inner critic appears. Rather than fighting with this voice, simply label it as judging and return to present moment awareness. Over time, this creates distance from the critical voice and strengthens your identification with awareness itself. Use the body as an anchor. When you notice yourself getting caught in mental patterns or self judgment during spiritual practice, bring attention to physical sensations in your body. Feel your breathing, the weight of your body being supported, the sensations in your hands and feet. This embodied awareness naturally evokes greater self compassion. Create an altar. Designate a space in your home as a self love altar. Include objects that represent self acceptance, self care, and self appreciation. This might include photos of yourself at different ages, objects that represent personal achievements, or symbols of qualities you appreciate in yourself. Visit this altar regularly as part of your spiritual practice. Practice loving kindness meditation. If you meditate, try including yourself in loving kindness practice. Many people find it easier to direct love towards others than themselves. By deliberately including yourself in the circle of compassion, you strengthen the neural and energetic pathways of self love. Offer your gifts from fullness. Whether you're giving intuitive readings, healing sessions, or other forms of spiritual service, check your energetic state before beginning. Are you offering from fullness or depletion? If you notice depletion, take time to replenish your energy through self love practices before serving others. Remember that integrating self love into spiritual practice isn't about making yourself the center of the universe, it's about honoring yourself as an integral part of the larger whole. When you love yourself, you naturally extend that love outward to embrace all things, recognizing the interconnection that is the true heart of spirituality. Let's close our series with a guided practice that integrates self love with spiritual connection. This practice helps you experience directly how self love enhances rather than impedes deeper spiritual awareness. Begin by finding a comfortable position, either seated or lying down. Close your eyes and check in with your body, from your head all the way down to your toes, relaxing each area as you go. Now take a few deep breaths from your solar plexus, allowing your body to completely relax and your mind to settle. Place one hand on your heart and one on your belly, creating a circuit of energy between these two centers. With each inhale, imagine drawing in light or energy through the crown of your head, light from the cosmos, the divine, or however you conceptualize higher consciousness. As this light enters your system, let it flow first to your heart center, where your hand rests. Feel your heart filling with this luminous energy. Now, with each exhale, direct some of this heart energy down to your belly center, your seat of embodiment and personal power. Continue this circulation of breath and energy, drawing light in through the crown, filling the heart, and grounding it in the belly. After a few rounds of this circulation, begin to expand your awareness. While maintaining the connection to your own heart and belly, sense the larger field of consciousness that surrounds and permeates you. Notice how loving yourself doesn't separate you from this larger field. It actually enhances your perception of it. Self love doesn't create boundaries against connectedness, it creates the safety needed to open more fully to it. Continue breathing with this dual awareness, honoring your individual self while simultaneously sensing your connection to the greater whole. When you're ready, gently bring your awareness back to the room, knowing that this integrated state of self love and spiritual connection is always available to you. As we conclude our exploration of self love, I hope you discovered that loving yourself isn't self indulgent or narcissistic. It's the foundation for everything else: clearer intuition, more authentic relationships, and deeper spiritual connection. The path of self love is ongoing. It's not something you achieve once and for all, but a relationship you continue to nurture throughout your life. There will be days when it flows easily and days when it feels more challenging. What matters is your commitment to returning to this relationship with yourself again and again with patience and compassion. I invite you to select at least one practice from each week of this series and commit to integrating it into your daily life. Remember that consistency matters more than perfection or duration. Small, regular acts of self love create profound shifts over time. Next, we'll be exploring trauma. And this shadow work is hard, but it helps us on our journey towards self love. Until then, may you treat yourself with the same care, compassion, and appreciation that you so naturally offer to those you love. Thank you for joining me on this journey. And please share this with anyone who may need it. And help a girl out with a like, a comment, or subscribe. Until next time.